So if you're here for creating stunning silhouettes, you're in the right place, because we're going to talk about simple, effective ways to create silhouettes in any environment that you're in, especially really crappy ones that we've all been in, right? Here's a photo of me and my beautiful cutie pie husband right over there, Maurice. Now, he's not a full-time shooter, but he does assist me, and we have a lot of fun. If you guys would like to follow me, my Instagram is @ParadaStudio. My website is paradastudio.com. Okay, so there's this thing that I love. Most of you already know it. It's silhouettes. The wonderful thing about silhouettes is that we can create them with a really simple couple steps. And this is such a good thing because it wows your clients and it creates diversity to your portfolio. What I like to use are 3 things that you see right over here: the MagSphere, the MagGrid, and the MagGel. And I'm going to show you those 3 lighting setups, why they're so great, and just how easy it is. So I need a little bit more audience participation. Let me know. Raise your hand if you love silhouettes. Heck yeah. Okay, now keep your hands raised if you use silhouettes in your photography. Wow, okay. Now keep your hands raised if you use off-camera flash for silhouettes. Okay, Cortland, Arno, Marlise, Kita, you guys can go home. You don't need to hear it. I'm just kidding. Please stay. We're going to have some fun. So talking about this, being prepared for the unexpected, we all have to deal with less than ideal situations. When I was in Arizona a couple months ago for MagMod, I was working on this theme of silhouettes. And I thought, what better way to showcase what we as photographers have to deal with on a daily basis, weekly basis, is shooting in a bathroom. How many of you have had to shoot in a bathroom or somewhere else? Yeah. What other locations have you guys had to deal with that have been less than ideal? Shout it out. Barns or bars? Barns. Oh, okay, barns. Bars is good too. What else? YMCA. YMCA, really, Cortland? Really? Closet spaces, bathrooms. So with that in mind, I'd like to show you the video that we created in Arizona that showcases what we do in that type of situation.
Hi, I'm Tanya Parada. I'm a wedding photographer based out of Los Angeles, California. So today I'm going to show you how to create some really interesting silhouettes. We're going to use 3 different lighting setups within the same location to create different looks. So the first shot that we're going to do, I'm going to be inside photographing the couple outside. So we're going to walk out there and show you the first lighting setup. So for this first lighting setup, what I've done is actually placed a flash behind the couple, and it has a blue gel as well as a sphere. And I came inside because we're actually going to frame the couple within this window. So earlier when I was setting up this shot, something that I noticed is that this mirror was reflecting back into my frame, which actually created a double silhouette. I really liked it, so I decided to keep it. So for this second lighting setup, we're gonna go ahead and leave that same light behind to silhouette Amy, but now we've introduced a second light that we're gonna focus on Tony. So for this shot, we're not gonna move Amy or Tony. I'm just gonna place the flash right behind him to create a silhouette behind him. So she's gonna stay outside and we're gonna create a second silhouette with him. So we're gonna do one more bonus technique, which is placing this flash behind to illuminate the ceiling and our couple. So I'm gonna just place this behind them with a blue gel and have them sit down. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you real soon.
Hello. Okay, we're back in business. So what's great about MagMod products is that it takes a location that is pretty much mundane or not so ideal, and you can have limitless creative possibilities. And it also helps you to focus on your subject. It helps you to focus what you really want to focus on. This was taken during midday in a bathroom, and that's what we were able to create. So I'm just going to walk through real quick what those settings were from those photos. If you guys have any questions, wait till we finish talking about these 3 photos and then go ahead and answer those questions for you. And then we'll go talking a little bit more about those 3 lighting setups. So the settings for this photo, f16, 1/200th of a second. My exposure is not ever for flash. It's for the ambient, and then you bring in the flash to focus on what you want to focus on. So because we're working at daylight, we have to cut down that ambient light, so we have to make our aperture really small. 200th of a second for our flash, and then ISO 400. Same setup, right? But now we've introduced a second flash to bring him out. And I think Joss and Tree mentioned it earlier this morning, but the reason why we want to go ahead and use colors that really complement is because of that color wheel, right? So if we're using blue, it makes sense to use that CTO, that full CTO. Settings for that, very similar. F18, 1/200th of a second, ISO 400. Last lighting setup is from the floor, and we're using just a gel. We're not using a grid in this instance because we want that light to spread. We want to be able to see this framing and be able to present our couple within that frame. Those are the settings right there. So, those 3 lighting setups. First of all, did anyone have any questions about those 3 photos that we saw in the video? Everyone's good? Everyone's still with me? Does anyone need more chocolate? All right. So, that first light setup is what I call the wall bounce lighting setup. The modifiers that I use is the MagGrid, the MagGel, the MagSphere. Why I like to use the MagSphere is because it creates a circular light shape. It creates something that's really gonna draw your eye in and be a perfect circle within your photo. So my couples are always in front, the flash is behind them, illuminating on the wall. So if this is a wall right here, we're illuminating the wall. We're throwing that light onto the wall. We talked about not so great, not so ideal locations, right? This was a wedding that I shot little to no light, and it was pretty much in like a barn style venue. But as soon as the DJ threw those lights on, I immediately thought silhouette. How can I separate my couple from the background? Throw that sphere on. Same thing here. This can work not just for weddings, not just for engagement sessions, any session you can use this. So what I did here was look for my framing through the corridor, brought my exposure down, made sure that my white balance was in tungsten, so then when I used my CTO or my full CTO, it really brought that yellow light to to our focus point. Then, of course, had a little fun, had him jump up. The second lighting setup is my favorite, which I think is a lot of our favorites, right? Which is the backlit. The modifiers that I use for this is MagGrid, MagGel, and sometimes in combination with the MagSphere. And I'm going to talk about why, like what the difference is between using the MagSphere, using the MagGrid, what those two looks, how they look different. So this is a venue in Southern California that a lot of you probably know of, that is very popular. This is Griffith Observatory, and so many people walk through this. This is like tourist heaven. And so what I wanted to do was really kill the lights so that we wouldn't see any of the distraction, we wouldn't see all the tourists going around, and focus on, I believe this is Saturn. Any science? Saturn? Focus what this light was exposed onto this planet, focus for that, expose for that, then decide where I wanted to have my couple, and then just pop a little flash. This is about 1/16 power. That's about where I'll keep my flash powers, 1/16, and then adjust it depending on the situation. This is another photo, same thing, talking about that color wheel, talking about that color, complementary colors, the blue and the yellow. Sunset was happening. I wanted to mimic the sunset, and so I had the flash right behind the couple. And you know what? I tried to kind of bring in a little bit of movement. I feel like that's something that we all could, work on with silhouettes, right? Because we kind of get in that, area of just stagnancy. Having them do something. They love this photo. And then lastly, this is at Laguna Beach. And we had the sun coming down, purple, orange, yellow. Immediately, what did I think of for gel? Complementary colors, what did I think of? The yellow, CTO. So here's an example of what I call this a hybrid silhouette, but what a silhouette looks like with the sphere and how this is different than just using a grid. With the sphere, if one of your subjects has like a white or a light gray colored shirt, that flash is gonna bounce off of them and reflect back into the other subject. It makes a beautiful light. But if that's not what you want, then without the sphere, you get this beautiful rim light. Does anyone recognize this dude right here? That's Scott Joe's White. That's this guy right here. Amazing photographer, amazing ambassador, and he's getting married to his beautiful fiancée, Brittany. So we had the pleasure to photograph these two, beautiful couple. The last lighting setup is the floor bounce. So we place the flash on the floor, pointing up. The MagMod modifiers we use, MagGel, usually in combination with the grid. Mentioned this earlier that the grid really brings that light in, whereas without the grid, it kind of spreads everywhere, which is great. Talking about not so ideal locations. This is a church parking lot. This was a Nigerian wedding. We had at 8 o'clock. Guido was there. We shot this together. My groom and his father were chit-chatting. He was nervous as heck. And I said, you know what? I would love these couple minutes you just to kind of hang out with your guys and talk. So we had the groomsmen kind of line up, made sure that they were separated, and then placed a flash behind these guys. Placed a flash behind these guys. This wall is stucco. It is nasty. But look at all that cool texture because the flash reflected back up into the wall and framed it just beautifully. This next one, you may recognize this. This is Vegas. This is a mural downtown in Fremont. And because we were able to bounce that light off, able to light up this beautiful mural right here, had a few gentlemen that were smoking nearby, helped me with a little bit of the smoke, create something unique and different for our client. And lastly, we have it framing our couple right here. And we waited for the right moment for something interesting to happen. So We have a little bit of movement in there and it tells more to the story. But our eye is drawn because of using MagMod, because of using this technique, our eye is drawn to our couple. We see her beautiful dress swaying in the wind. Adds to the story. So really those are the 3 lighting techniques that you can take with you any session. 1 is the bouncing the sphere off of the wall. 2 is backlighting. And 3 is bouncing from the floor up onto the wall and separating your client from the background. Now my chore for you guys, my homework for you guys, before we answer any questions, is let me know which of these 3 techniques you plan on using on your next session. Or talk amongst yourselves and talk like, for my next session coming up this week, which one of these do I want to implement? And I promise you, you're gonna wow your clients, you're gonna add to diversity of your portfolio, and it's gonna be amazing. Oh, with that being said, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Again, my handle, Parada Studio, and paradastudio.com. Please, if I don't know you, if I haven't met you, please come up and say hi. I'd love to meet you, love to see where you're at in your photographic journey, and be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Thank you. Enjoy.
Good job. Thank you.